What's up, math fans? Today I want to do finding and plotting inequalities. Brand new topic, brand new chapter, finding and plotting inequalities. But it reminds me of a joke. I don't know if you've ever heard this joke. Do you know why 6 was afraid of 7? Because 7 ate 9. Alright, some people have a sense of humor. Anyway, 7 ate 9. The original joke is 6 is afraid of 7 because after 7 comes 8 and 9, ha ha ha, right? But here's my connection. When you have a blank here and they say fill in the blank with either this symbol or this symbol, I put in this symbol. And this symbol, some people say, oh, it looks like the Pac-Man, and Pac-Man is eating the bigger number, 7, 8, and then eating the 9. Do you see the link there? If you don't worry about it. It's an inside joke. But you need to know a couple of things. 7 is smaller than 9. So if I was going to read this, I would actually read it as 7 is less than 9. That's how you read this. This symbol here is the less than symbol. Okay? If you were reading it backwards, and you shouldn't because it gets too confusing, especially when there's variables, 9 is greater than 7 if you're reading it backwards. And that's kind of why they say Pac-Man is eating the bigger number. All right? Pac-Man eats the bigger number. If the bigger number was here, maybe if this was 17, it would face that way. So this is the less than symbol. If you still can't remember that, for some reason people still mix these things up. If you still can't remember that, it looks like an L, L for less. So this is less than. That's the less than symbol. 7, actually the word is important here too. 7 is less than 9, okay? If you had less than alone like that, that actually usually means subtract, so it gets a little tricky. 7 is less than 9. If it's backwards, if this is the symbol you're looking at, obviously it's the reverse of this, so that is greater than. And maybe I could have said, 17 is greater than 9, and you read it, well, look at that. Pac-Man's eating the bigger number that way. 17 greater than 9. Okay? This looks like an L, so remember it means less than. This kind of looks like a G, so remember it means greater than. See? I put a little hook, now it's a G. Alright? Now that we have the symbols down, how do you apply them? Well, you should also know that the symbol less than with a line under it means less than or equal to, and this symbol greater than with a line under it means greater than or equal to. That just means to include whatever number you're talking about when you're dealing with variables, and I'm getting there. Let's get the vocabulary real quick. Over here I have the word at least. So use the phrase at least in a sentence. I want to get at least a 90 in my math class. It's a nice goal to have. So if you want at least a 90, think about what that means. Think about what grades you want. So I'm going to draw a number line. And you don't have to put 0 on your number line. The number line could be anywhere. So I'm going to start from 90. I want at least a 90. What grades do I want? Do I want an 89? Or do I want a 91? I want a 91. At least a 90 means I'll take a 90. I'll also take a 91. I'll also take a 92. I'll also take anything bigger than 90. But I definitely will take a 90. So I'm going to shade in my 90. And then I'm going to draw an arrow to the right, which means anything above 90 is good. 90.5 is good. 92.3 is good. Anything above 90 is good. Hypothetically, it would go to infinity. Technically, it would stop at 100 because nobody gives higher than 100. All right, so at least means I want a grade that's greater than or equal to 90. How would I write this in symbols or algebra? I would write x, my grade, is greater than or equal to 90. You see the word least, people keep thinking less. No. Least actually means greater than or equal to that number. This is the algebraic representation of this. This is the graphic representation of this. So get used to all three versions. Think about at most. Put that in a sentence. I don't know. I'll pay at most $100 for a pair of sneakers. So again, let's represent that. Here's 100. Will you pay 100? Yes. Will you pay 101? It doesn't say LOL, it says 101. No, I will not pay 101. I will pay at most 100, which means I'll pay 99 or 98 or 97 or a 0. So I will include the 100 and I will pay anything less than or equal to 100. So that is x is less than or equal to 100. Okay, those are the two different categories. Main vocabulary is at least, or greater than or equal to, or more than or equal to. This is at most, or less than or equal to, or I don't know, under or equal to. Those are the most popular phrases. Okay, that's it. Simple as that. What's important here is that you see this little or equal to part. See how I shaded in my circle when I started at the 100? See this or equal to part? See how I shaded in my circle when I started at the 90? If you would have gotten, excuse me, need this eraser. If you would have gotten an example like this without the or equal to part, something like x is greater than 90, no or equal to, what does this mean? It means I will not settle for a 90 in my class. Open circle, I'm not including a 90. 90 is not good enough. I'll take a 91, I'll take a 92. Technically, if you're saying this, you'll take a 90.1. You'll take a 90.2. You'll take a 90.5. You'll take anything above a 90, you just won't settle for a 90. You'll even take a 90.00001. Anything right after the 90 is good. So this time it's an open circle. Try to keep that in mind. If you see this or this, open circle. And by that logic, if you see this or this, closed circle. So now you got to remember what the symbols mean, and now you got to remember how they're supposed to look on a graph. What do you mean open circle? What do you mean closed circle? When you're graphing it, you start at the solution and you put a circle there. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean right here. Here's a complicated example where x is on both sides. The skills you need to follow this are how to solve equations. So basically, you kind of ignore the less than or equal to sign, and you do exactly what you would have done if there was an equal sign here. So you got to know how to solve multi-step equations, one-step, two-step equations, variable on both sides equations. If you're good with equations, inequalities is the same exact rules. So rule number one, I want to get x on one side because I want to get the solutions. Basically, I want to solve. So let me see here. I got x's on both sides. I'm going to bring this 2x over here. Goodbye 2x. Hello 7x. Everything else drops down. But remember, I'm doing what I would do if this was an equal sign. It's actually not an equal sign. What was it originally? A less than or equal to sign. So my less than or equal to sign drops down, just like an equal to sign would drop down. You're doing the same procedure. The ending is different. Here, I'm going to subtract 4. 7x is less than or equal to, 11 minus 4 is 7. That worked out very nicely. Going to divide by 7 on both sides. And x equals 1, right? No, this is less than or equal to. X is less than or equal to 1. Steps are all the same. Bring your like terms to one side, additive inverse, divide by the coefficient. I got a solution. Now I got to graph it. So I'm going to put a number line, just like I did earlier. Here's my number line. I'm going to put 1 as my central point. And then I'm going to put a circle above it to show that my solution is above the 1. The question is, do I include the 1 or not? Do I include the 1 or not? I do. It's one of these guys. It's this one. That's a closed circle. I include the 1, meaning I'm accepting a 1. I will accept a 1 in this class, or I will pay $1 for whatever the item is. So, what is this, less than? So what are all the numbers that are less than 1? Will you accept a 2, or will you accept a 0? Which one? Which one is less? Less is that way, left, left. So I will accept a 0, I'll accept negative numbers also. Anything to the left of my circle is part of my solution, and that's basically it. Solve, figure out your circle, figure out your arrow. Solve, figure out your circle, figure out your arrow. All right? Thanks for watching. See ya.